Civilian Octopus is down. He was put down by Byun. In the rematch, he was able to take the 2-0, and now he's in Code S.
Byun had himself a nice meal. Fried lean octopus tastes really good as far as I was told. Yeah. Never had the pleasure to taste it myself. But
the cooking process, though, it's just so painful to watch.
Yeah, it's really painful to watch, and it's usually a very long affair. So in this case, we had Byun taking Leonok out with the 2-0. Weird puns aside. Now we're going into the fourth best of 3 with Byun up versus Rain. To be honest, the match that I was anticipating the most today.
Yeah, same here. I think it's probably going to be our closest one. Byun on fire on his stream, playing against a lot of North American players, also switching to the Korean server. Plays a lot of televised matches. You know, as a result, obviously, when he's streaming, you can see exactly what he's doing, what he's thinking. But even so, does really well. He had a bit of trouble in the Team League, on the other hand. He was not able to get into Code S just yet in the last up and down season, so this could be his moment to get right back in, but he's up against a tough Cross player, one who fell down from Code S himself.
Yeah, Rain is always looking pretty sexy when he's in the booth. A very excellent proto style that he's executing. Byun, again, a little bit tired here. He needs to get ready because this guy certainly doesn't show mercy.
We had a lot of SKT players playing today. Obviously, we had team kill, someone advanced, and it would be great for their team if they could get that through. Prime, on the other hand, having such a rough time in Team League, losing Creator out of Code S. He has to go to the up and downs now as well.
Oh yeah, Prime is in a lot of trouble these days, and Byun is definitely their strongest player, so it would be great for them if he could make it into Code S. Because Marine King already falling short in the third round against players like Live.
Yeah, I mean, they saw the other shot in the up and downs, but just to save base here and to wait instead of having, you know, this affects their GSTL as well, because if Byun suddenly has to prepare for GSTL and the up and down matches, he has to split his practice accordingly, whereas if he gets straight into Code S, then he can focus more on the Team League until those groups are announced.
We're heading into the first game in just a few seconds. Star Station is going to be map number 1 for the Terran versus Protoss match. Byun certainly is ready, so is Rain. They want to go for it, and we are going to find out who is going to take the first match in this best of 3 series. The last one here for Code A at the GSL Colin Wolf. Already in the game. Let's jump right into it. Terran vs Protoss, the first DVP that we have today. Star Station.
Yeah, I wanna know now! I wanna know now! You gotta get into it! When it's kicking your ass, so you can get it back! You gotta get...
Starting to the top right, strongest Prime player these days. Yes.
Byun Prime.
Really, really strong player. Still using that DT35.
Starting to the bottom right is his opponent, doing really well in Pro League these days. A strong Protoss to face. We have
SK Telecom T1, Rain.
You want to support these players, give a little shout out to their Twitters. Rain is SKT1 Rain with no spaces. He got Twitter during WCS after we harassed him, you especially, telling him you need to get one.
Yeah, I talked to him and he said like, oh, I have a Facebook account. I'm like, no, Facebook was Brood War. Now we're Starcraft 2.
Yeah.
This is all about Twitter. And he's like, okay. So then he gave me the Twitter, talking to Team Liquid. They set it up, and now that was back in the days when he was actually, when everyone thought he would win that Code S season.
Yeah.
So that guy is really strong. Definitely make sure to add him.
Don't forget about Byun either. Byun Prime is his Twitter, just simply that with no spaces. He'd love to hear from you.
Exactly the accounts that you can see on top of the scoreboard right now that you can just add with the ID in front of it. And of course, make sure that you add the two of us as well while we're having these build orders unfold. Wolf is at Proxy Wolf. I myself, I'm at Calder with a KH.
Yep.
Let us know what you think about today's games, because I have to admit I was expecting a very different day. That was very weird results that we had so far with very, very different games, and some of them were very weird, so I would really love to hear what exactly you thought about those matches.
Well, going to this one, as the builders finally unfold here, Byun is going to do a Reaper expand, so he didn't plan on doing any sort of really fast drop play. He can still go into that, but Rain will spot him here before he can deny the probe scout, because he went for such a late Marine, of course. Well, no Marine at all.
And Rain is doing really well against Terran these days. I mean, in April, he was a little bit shaky when he was playing in Code S against opponents like Innovation and Gumiho. He didn't take a single map. But since then, something changed, because he was able to not only defeat Cure in Pro League, but also he took down Innovation in Best of 1. He won against Reality, and then he took out Byun just in the recent match that they had. It was actually really impressive. I mean, his record there He took out Effort, he took out Hydra, and he took out Byung after Effort, like, played a 3-0. Was not able to get the reverse all kill in Pro League. He was defeated by Hero in the last game, but it was a very impressive run by Rain, and Byun has to be very careful going up against such a strong player.
And you know what, Kelder? He expects this build for Byun because every Terran player who does a Reaper expand goes in this reactor like this, so he sends a Zealot in and he runs away from the Reaper with it. He knows a Mothership Core can defend the Reaper, but now he's going to come in here and he's going to try to delay this Command Star with a Zealot, and he should be able to, at the very least, make the SCB run away. And here he goes, runs in, targets the SCB down. This is such a smart play here by Rain. He denies this for so long.
It just shows how smart he is in his play, that this is really thought out. This is not an accident or anything.
So perfect. And now, 2 Marines versus a Zealot. You know, if you practice the Marine King, you can do pretty well against that, but you have to be careful.
If he is getting another hit at the SCV, and he might as well, he could potentially take it out. Not quite, but still he delays the command center, and that's all that he wants to do. That's so much mining time lost already.
Yeah, and I mean, he's so much delaying this. The SCV finally comes back down with the Reaper even coming home, and he's going into a quick robo as a response. He already knows everything he's facing. He's like, okay, it could be maybe a Widow Mine drop, but if it's not that, and you're just playing very standard as a follow-up to this, then I'll have my my robo ready, and as a result, he's going to have detection for the Widow Mines that come out.
And just talking a bit about how the players ended up in the 3rd round here, while we have those build orders fold further. Starport already on the way for the Widow Mine drop. Reaper still trying to get a few shots off. We had Byun in the 1st round go up against Mines. He defeated him with a 2-0. And then, without dropping a single map, he defeated Keen in the 2nd round. Now he finds himself up against Rain, who went through Kodes. I mentioned the results against players like Innovation and Gomiho earlier. But in the 2nd round, after Rain dropped down from Kodes into Kode, he defeated Yonghwa with a 2-0, and now he finds himself up against Byun here.
Yeah, and Observer's coming out for Rain, and this push out from Byun, we've seen it before, but if you control your Mothership Core well and you have that Stalker ready for the drop, and as long as you don't send your Observer blindly, then you could defend this well. It's all about micro here. Here comes the attack to the natural. Reaper distracts him here, and the Mothership Core not immediately firing.
The Mothership Core is not in position, and 2 of the probes are already down. Here comes the Photon Overcharge, and of course the Marines backing off immediately. So far, for the next 60 seconds, Rain is going to be safe at his natural.
Yeah, and no target on the Widow Mine, so the Widow Mine survives just outside of the range of that Mothership Core attack.
Yeah, but decent pressure here by Byun. I like it. 4 workers killed so far by the Terran players. Not as much as he was hoping for. But with the Medivac, he can now just try to drop into the main base. Let's not forget that the Mothership Core doesn't have enough energy just yet for another Photon Overcharge.
Yeah, and here comes that 2nd Observer out. Will he go into Robotic Support Bay now, or is he going to start Forges and a Twilight? Well, just 1 Forge. A lot of switching on going here in the main base for Byun. Man, he's all been scouted, of course, by that Observer. Double Forge goes down, so no Twilight just yet with this.
Double Forge here for the upgrades will consume a lot of gas, so he has to wait a little bit until he can tech further. Vision of Rain just showed, and the Medivac immediately retreating upon Byun realizing that he won't have an easy time using that dropship in the main base, and now even being tailed by an Observer.
Yeah, he gets tagged here. You never want that, but there's nothing you can do about it. And, you know, of course, he can boost away from the Observer and lose that pull, but
I don't think he saw the Observer. He's trying to boost in, and he sees the Stalkers being set up, sees the 2nd wave. Now he's just trying to get away, but he should realize by now that there is an Observer tailing him.
yeah. There's the Twilight Council I was talking before he starts the upgrades first. And, you know, Byun is going to be ahead in upgrades for a brief period of time, but with Chrono Boost and with the Double Forge, Rain should be able to not only catch up, but take a slight lead there.
Here come now those Immortals out, and this is a really, really also difficult composition to deal with for Byun, who's now sitting on 2 bases, trying to make the drop work. That doesn't happen at all for him. Twilight Council for Rain is of course enabling him to get the +2/+2 attack upgrade as well as the next tech tree. And we have him with 3 additional gateways now. So now getting that gateway production up so that he can deal with any type of incoming aggression.
Yeah, and it'll also allow him to comfortably move into a 3rd base fairly soon here. He has the Observer following that army, so he knows when it's moving out.
He's even willing to sacrifice a few minerals for the cannon in the main base to make sure that any incoming drop play is a bit delayed to give him the time to warp in additional units to defend against it.
Yeah, and also a cannon is basically saying no Widow Mines allowed, because if a Widow Mine lands, a cannon will not only spot it, but usually kill it instantly.
Yeah. Have this detection there, just in addition to the Observer that is already there. now going into the War Prison. And we have, of course, the tech that I just mentioned. After the Twilight Council is done, he's heading not only into charge, but he's adding the Templar Archive immediately to get that Storm out there, so that he can have some area of effect damage against the Bioforces of Byun.
This is Rain's style. He's really well known for doing this. The Observer is all over this.
He's been talking to Harding.
Yeah. He does not actually scan that Observer, so he can't stick around. Scans at the natural instead, sees that this is not necessarily a good time to try to run in. The longer he waits, though, the 1-1 is about to finish, and so is Charge.
Yeah. 1-1 is soon to be done, and here comes the Stim. He's moving in, and immediately the Guardian Shield. The force fields are good. The feedbacks on the Medivacs.
Yeah, feedbacks on the Medivacs good as well, but he's not quite able to do very much damage. Good Widowmine shot, and Byun, he takes a lead here in supply. That was a pretty good trade for him.
I really liked how he was trying to use those force fields against his opponent after he picked up the units in front of it, dropping them behind the force fields and trying to bait those Zealots into range to take them out.
Yeah. Don't forget, during all this, Byun's accomplishment here is not picking off those Zealots. It's keeping Rain on the defensive while he has a third base. He's had it up for a while now.
Yeah. It's a contain that we have.
Yeah, it's a very soft contain, but it's that pressure that you feel as a Protoss where you're like, all right, well now I've just got to try to get my upgrades out and hope for the best here.
Observers everywhere seeing what's going on, 5 in total. This is really, really reminding me of how Harding used to play when he emerged in the Starcraft 2 scene. Now suddenly we have Rain going for the style, going into the tech. Already starting, of course, the Storm upgrading, Chrono boosting it, +2/+2 also on the way. And the Terran player's falling a little bit behind upgrades.
Yeah, he certainly is. And he needs to take either a Nexus or he needs to attack soon. You know, he starts 2 gateways instead of the Nexus and then 2 more probes, so it looks like he is going to take that third. There it is. But he has to be so careful about letting Byun get out of control with his army size. We've seen this over and over again. It seems like this is Byun's style. He's either down on upgrades and has a massive army that's better than yours, or he takes a risk and gets the faster upgrades and then just keeps trying to drop you and trying to wear you down. And I mean, just look at the supply. This is whenever we see Byun play Terran vs. Protoss, he's always up like 50 supply. He's down on upgrades, but he just uses the size of his army to try to overwhelm his opponent with good flanks, good concaves, and also with the drop play.
Storms are going to be crucial, of course, for Rain in the next engagement, especially since Byun does not have any ghosts in his composition. So he has nothing that he can use against his opponent's High Templars. He doesn't have Snipe, and we won't see EMPs. I think he just started his Ghost Academy, but it's a bit late.
You're very right. He just now started it. Warp Prism is spotted by Viking. Nicely done. Good shutdown here.
And Byun is just trying to hit a bit of, I don't really want to say like a huge timing here, but he's on 3 bases for a little bit longer. He's going into the +2/+2 now a lot later than his opponent. And if he can muster up his force, he might be able to just hit Rain when Rain cannot really work with his third base just yet.
Yeah, I think what we may see is just 2-2 SCV pull with a few Hellbats and just going for it, that lazy boy push.
Hellbats, of course, great against Zealots.
And they have a lot of hit points. I mean, they can eat a Storm okay too.
Yeah.
3-3 on the way for Rain, and he's going to want to try to get that out before this push comes. If he can do that and get enough Templar out for the Storms, that's how he's going to hold this.
This parting style that we see out of Rain with all the observers scattered across the map, it's like a legal map habit that he has here.
Yeah. He even has all the watchtowers constantly, you know, as long as he can hold them.
Great map awareness for Rain, that much is for sure. Here's the scan though, first ghosts are now being built. And the +2/+2 is halfway done. Rain heading into +3/+3, so he really wants to keep this advantage.
And Byun, very interestingly enough, starts a 4th command star after he sees that Zealot count. I mean, the Templar count. He's like, you know what? I don't think this is going to work with a push.
Yeah, he needs to start repairing that bunker, but here we have an engagement in the middle of the map, and the Protoss player, he is paying.
Yeah, way too late on those Storms. His Templar were not with his army. And yeah, he does some damage here to a bunker, but he's not getting too many SCVs. The Marines arrive, clean him up.
Yep, very safe play here by Byun with their bunker, and the Widowmine is losing another supply depot, but the main force of the Terran player now moving across the map, trying to put the pain onto Rain.
Yeah, Byun he's playing a very careful game here. Now he's got the 2-2 finishing up. He always scans. He's not only scanning the observers, but more importantly scanning the army composition, knowing exactly where those Templar are, allows him to try to bait the Zealots in, like we saw in that last engagement, where the Templar are not ready.
With the third base now, Rain is trying to go for the transition, also adding the robotic space so that he can have a few Colossi in here. More and more area of effect damage, but the drop in the main base, the missile turret nearly taking out the War Prism, and the Zealots going to town on those SCVs.
Yeah, Byun is actually trading with the SCVs. It looks like he wants to just have a better army. He's going to just let the SCVs go. Storms and EMPs are everything here. Great EMP and the snipes.
And here comes one feedback, but the snipes are good. And this is Byun. He's moving in. The storm is good.
3-3 is not ready. He comes through here. He's crushing this army.
Rain is 60 supply down. Byun is moving in. Another storm hits home, but it's not good enough. Another one goes in. He's storming like Pikachu.
He's storming like Pikachu. The mothership cannon goes down too, but this base is now totally exposed, and it looks like Byun's gonna take it. GG. A lot of those Zealot Warpins in Byun's base would have been really nice to have with that army, and the storms were just not as good as you would have expected from Rain.
Yeah, usually, I mean, he was so down in supply already. Byun just hitting all his buttons here, having that third up a lot faster than his opponents, going into a massive amount of army supply, and then just moving out. Rain looking at the screen, he's like, oh, that didn't go as extended.
Yeah. Byun's taking that one first engagement when the storms just totally missed his army, where he took out maybe like 8 or 10 Zealots.
Yeah.
That really gave him the momentum, I
His
feel.
High Templars were not there. They were a little bit lacking behind, and then when the storms hit, Byun just turned around and was like, well, I already killed half your army.
3-3 not being done. Very, very crisp timing there from Byun. You know, he couldn't have known when 3-3 was going to finish exactly, but he took he made a good judgment call there when he moved, and he said, my army is just big enough that even if your 3-3 finishes, I know you don't have enough tempo because I've scanned your army like 6 times, and I know exactly how many you have.
Rain now has to turn things around if he wants to go straight into Corres. He does not want to go to the up and downs. Byun, on the other hand, he's in exactly the same position, but he is ahead 1 game in the series already. He is really tensed up.
Yeah, he really is. You know, you can see he took a win, but he's feeling like...
Wow.
You could see it on his face where he's like, yeah, I took that win, but that was still pretty close, and those Zealots were getting into my base. Remember the game that Byun lost in the GSTL where he had Zealots in his base? He killed an entire Protoss army and just GG'd, you know, suddenly. I feel like those Zealot drops are pretty reminiscent of that game. We'll see if he can keep himself together here.
Byun just looked like he lost the last game, not like he won it.
Yeah.
And you can really see that Rain and Harding are now in the same team, that they are talking to each other. All those observers that we had, that was like deja vu. That was exactly what we saw from Harding in the past. But the Storms were not on the same level just yet.
Yeah. Well, Akalon ways, we could see Rain go for a more aggressive strategy here, like a Proxy Oracle or a Blink Stalker all in.
This is going to be a good one. Game number 2 here at the GSL Korea between Byun and Rain, jumping into the game on a kill on race. Brought to you by Color.
You gotta get to win.